Anyone who was around in the early 2000s knows that around that time it was almost difficult to see a film without Michael Clarke Duncan after he had made his breakout as John Coffey in The Green Mile. Unfortunately, in 2012, he suddenly died of a heart attack, and it just never made any sense. I mean, the dude was jacked, strong, and proud of his new vegetarian lifestyle.
Hello, this is Michael Clarke Duncan for PETA. I became a vegetarian 3 years ago. I ate meat, a lot of meat, but I noticed I had a lot of illnesses too. Once my birthday rolled around, I said, well, why don't I try something new and exciting and different, so I decided to become a vegetarian. And PETA is at the forefront of vegetarianism, veganism, and I just wanted to try something different. And when you guys contacted me, it was like a no-brainer.
Like he even bragged about flipping a tractor-trailer tire in his backyard with a sledgehammer just to spice up his workouts. That doesn't sound like a man on the brink, right? Well, allegedly, Angela Bassett, who worked with him and always spoke highly of his energy and kindness, is reportedly breaking her silence, saying there was more to the story than the public ever knew. Is she confirming what people have already been saying, especially about Omarosa? I mean, why did Michael leave almost everything to her? Why was his family, especially his sister Judy, so convinced that Omarosa had a hand in influencing his will? And why, right after his death, were there reports that she'd already sold off his personal belongings, the watches, cars, even his Green Mile director's chair, without telling the family? Like, who does that? Probably someone who's got a lot to earn from MCD's death, and that's exactly what we are going to be talking about. So, just for a bit of background, Michael grew up in a poor family in Chicago, and the situation was made worse when his father left their home when he was literally just 5. As a result, he was raised solely by his mother Jean and his older sister Judy. Now, from a young age, Michael had dreamed of pursuing a career in football, but his mother refused to let him play, fearing that he would be injured. However, he got his chance once he made it to college, attending both Kankakee Community College in Illinois and later Alcorn State University in Mississippi, where he played football and basketball while majoring in communications. Then, when his mother fell ill, he dropped out of school and returned to Chicago to help support the family. The thing about Michael is that he was towering at 6'5" and 315 pounds, so he had no trouble getting work as a ditch digger for People's Gas or as a bouncer and even a stripper at various nightclubs around the city. Fun fact, by the way, did you know that Michael was assigned to protect Notorious B.I.G. on the night he was unalived, but MCD switched assignments at the last minute? Apparently, the death caused MCD to quit working as a bodyguard and pursue acting full-time. I mean, I'm personally glad he made that choice, cause I can't really imagine anyone else playing the roles he did. Plus, all that situation with Biggie Small is just too messy. Anywho, it was his mom who urged him to give acting a shot, and so Duncan turned away from the ditch-digging lifestyle and set off for Los Angeles, California. Well, he started off being a bouncer in various films before his breakout role in The Green Mile, and like I said, from there, Michael was literally everywhere you looked in the early 2000s, and he acted in nearly 100 movies and television shows throughout his life. Unfortunately, this career was cut short when on July 13, 2012, Michael Clarke Duncan was hospitalized following a heart attack and placed in the ICU at the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. A couple of days later, he was moved out of intensive care but remained hospitalized. But then, on September 3, 2012, Michael Clarke Duncan died in the hospital because of what doctors said was the result of complications from the heart attack he had suffered nearly 2 months earlier. Let's just say that MCD's death did not make sense to a lot of people because he was fit and healthy, and a couple of months before his death, he had even started a vegetarian diet. In fact, he said he felt better after giving up meat, adding that he was a lot stronger than he was when he ate meat.
And I mean, believe me, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I'm saying I'm a lot healthier than I was when I was eating meat. And best thing about being a vegetarian for me, number one is I know I'm not harming any animals. I have cats and dogs at home, and I know I'm not doing that. The number two thing is increased strength. I'm a lot stronger than I was when I was eating meat. And I found out that most animals, most of your most powerful animals in the wild are vegetarians. So I'm trying to get my strength to that level. I don't know if I'll make it or not, but...
In another interview with CNN, he had also said that he would sometimes get bored working out in his home gym. So he spiced up his workout routine by getting a tractor-trailer truck tire, which he beat to death with a sledgehammer in his backyard.
50 times to the right, 50 times to the left, and 50 times overhead. Then I pick it up with one hand and run the length of the court and back.
How much does this tire weigh?
Weighs well over 100 pounds.
Well, that'll help you lose some weight.
Yeah, it will, man. And
Wow.
by the time that 20 minutes is up, if you running with this tire, tire and everything you exert.
Now, how did a man who was working out daily, bragging about his strength, and talking about how good he felt just suddenly collapse? It never made any sense, and it still doesn't make sense to date. And you know who people have always side-eyed? Yep, enter Omarosa. Duncan reportedly became secretly engaged to Omarosa Manigault in the summer of 2012 before his health took a turn for the worse in July, and they reportedly planned a wedding for January the following year. And that's not all. The thing is, Michael left nearly everything to Omarosa in his will, leading his family, particularly his sister Judy, to suspect that she may have manipulated him into leaving most of his estate to her. Judy was like, "I think anyone can be manipulated at any time. I think there's always somebody that's gonna try and get something out of you." And I think that's what it was. Because like I said, the last time we saw him, he just wasn't right. There was something going on, and I know it. So for him to have left her everything, there was some manipulation there. I'm not a snake handler, so I stay away. Judy also said that her suspicions about Omarosa intensified when MCD was hospitalized following his heart attack, since Omarosa was fixated on MCD's money when he was on life support. And guess what? Reportedly, Omarosa had already sold a bunch of MCD's personal effects, like his watches, cars, his Green Mile director's chair, awards, and other things, and she sold the stuff without the family's knowledge. In addition, other people who were close to Michael said that, contrary to what was out there, Omarosa was not engaged to him, and they insisted that she got Michael to alter his will when he was not of sound mind and exploited his funeral. Apparently, as early as December 2011, MCD was not himself, slurring words and stumbling around, so to them, it's very possible that he may have been manipulated to change his will and leave everything to Omarosa. When Omarosa was asked about all these allegations, she fired back at Judy and her claims, saying that Duncan's sister was the problem. In her words, "I don't control the estate or the finances, and Judy knows it. If you saw all of her emails and texts to me, you would see that she is just trying to get money from me and threatened going to press if I did not give it to her, and that is a crime." We've seen strange things happening in Hollywood all the time, and it wouldn't be the first time somebody mysteriously died of a heart attack. And I know that I have seen claims about how there are poisons that mimic heart attack when administered to someone. Now, I don't know whether Omarosa had anything to do with the death, but I have also seen reports claiming Michael Clarke Duncan may have started to rebel during the height of his fame. Think about it. Around the early 2000s, MCD wasn't just the lovable giant in Hollywood anymore. He was building real power. He was landing leading roles, rubbing shoulders with major players, and reportedly becoming a lot more vocal about the kind of projects he wanted to do, especially ones that didn't stereotype black men as thugs or muscle. Allegedly, he was also trying to break free from the shackles of Hollywood, and we've all seen how that always pans out, right? Well, now, there's new speculation bubbling up online, and it's reigniting all the old questions surrounding Michael Clarke Duncan's death. I know it's been over a decade, but the internet clearly isn't done with this story, especially when we have someone like Angela Bassett allegedly entering the chat. According to online whispers, Angela, who worked closely with MCD and always spoke fondly of him, has been saying behind the scenes that there were things about his passing that never made sense. And you know what? Some people think she's subtly confirming what fans have been suspecting for years, that Michael's death might not have been as straightforward as it seemed. So was this a man who was finally taking control of his life, his image, and his future, only for it all to end too suddenly? Did his growing independence in Hollywood rub certain people the wrong way? What about Omarosa? Was she the devoted partner she claimed to be? Or was there something darker at play? And why, all these years later, is Angela Bassett suddenly hinting that something about his death didn't sit right? Baby, I don't know if we will ever get the answers we are looking for, but let me know what you think of this very mysterious death in the comment section below.